Hi, and welcome to Commissioner's Corner. I'm Jen Ahearn-Koch, Sarasota City Commissioner at Large, and we are here today to talk about historic preservation. I am joined today by three experts in the field. They are Erin DiFazio, Mary Butler, and Roberto Gonzalez. Thank you all for joining me.
Thank you.
Erin. Erin is the Program Director for the Sarasota Alliance for Historic Preservation. Erin works with the help of many talented and generous people to preserve the historic buildings of Sarasota, from the old Florida cottages to the Sarasota School of Architecture and beyond. And this building we are in is a Sarasota School of Architecture building. Erin is a licensed realtor with Chrome Realty. She draws from her past as a historic restoration contractor in Connecticut to assist customers with small investments, to accurately budget for repairs and renovations, and market special properties to their unique niche. Erin believes that her library card is the most valuable thing in her wallet because she feeds insatiably on books. Thank you, Erin, for joining us today.
Thank you.
We also have Mary Butler. Mary is a native of Sarasota, born and raised in Newtown. She's the owner of Mary Butler LLC, a commercial cleaning company established in 2018. She's very active in her community as president of Amaryllis Park Neighborhood Association since 2019. Mary's a proud member of the Suncoast Women of Action, Business and Professional Women, and Newtown Business Council. She is a 2023 graduate of the Sarasota Chamber of Commerce's Leadership Sarasota program, congratulations, and USF Mentor Protege program. When not working, she enjoys spending time with family, cooking, reading, and gardening, and so do I love gardening as well. And we also have, last but very not least, Roberto Gonzalez, an associate with Schenkel Schultz. He is a registered architect in Florida and has been in the architectural field for over 26 years. He is passionate about design, cultivating a vibrant community through his work on educational, community, and public safety projects. He became a LEED, L-E-E-D, which you'll tell me what that stands for, accredited professional to create spaces focused on wellness and sustainability. Roberto donates his time and talents to the city's Historic Preservation Board, thank you, and entities like Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So thank you, all three of you, for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today so that we can help talk about some of the benefits of historic preservation, and some of the citizens can hopefully see the value in historic preservation. Mary, I want to start with you. Recently, the City Commission passed unanimously moving forward with the National Historic Designation of Newtown. Can you talk to me about a little bit about the process, how long it took, and just some of the values to our community of this program? But maybe you could also start with the process, which is something we were talking about a little earlier.
Okay. I have the survey here in my possession, a copy of it actually, and basically it started, I want to say maybe in 2018. They outsourced it, and they actually went out and started surveying Newtown. So
can you just tell me what it is first? Like, what is a historic designation? What does that actually mean?
So a historic designation has several legs to it. And the first leg is to do a survey.
Okay.
And then which has been done, and so now we're at the stage where it's going to the state, and then it's going to the federal government to be approved, and that's when it becomes a historic destination.
And how big is this district?
So according to the survey, they found 691 structures that qualified for a part of the historic district.
Do you know the boundaries?
This right here is in Newtown, so our boundaries are north is Myrtle, south is 18th Street, east is Lemon Avenue, and then east is Lemon Avenue, no, west is Lemon Avenue, sorry, and then east is Leonard Avenue in Sarasota.
Okay, and I think you were talking earlier about the number of structures. You said 691.
Correct.
And this makes this potentially the largest historic district in Florida?
To my understanding, yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, to somebody who lives in Florida and who lives in Newtown, what does this mean to them? Like, why should they care?
Well, it means a lot. It means a lot because it means that we live in a historic district. We live in a historic neighborhood. We live in a historic community. It means that our community has been around for a very long, long time, and that it really does deserve this historical recognition.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think one of the pieces of this that I find so important is to establish pride of place.
Correct.
To tell the stories, because these stories are over 100 years old.
Correct.
And preserving a community like that is really, really important for this generation and for the next generation, so that we as Sarasota can continue to be the place that we are. We know where we came from, and we are proud of who we are, and we can share that with our children so that they can also be proud of living here and being here and telling those stories.
Correct.
And with that also comes the desire to preserve that story and preserve that district and preserve that home and continue to tell the story.
That's right. So I just want to add that Newtown was plotted in 1914, and we celebrated 100 years in 2014, and next year we'll be celebrating 110 years. So that is a lot to be thankful, be grateful for, and definitely community pride.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry I don't mean to interrupt, but one of the key things we're talking about a historic district, and you just heard the length of time and how much has been contributed already by that community to the city of Sarasota. So when we're talking about these historic districts, perhaps some people immediately just think of a historic structure. That's a big part of it. But associated with these structures is the place, it's people, it's our events. Yes. It's that length of time and that history that has already contributed. So it's in addition to specific structures, it's really that neighborhood and the history that goes with it. So having this designation is one of the steps that we want to take to be able to preserve that as part of that rich history that really is Sarasota. So it's very exciting.
Right, and this historic district includes not only homes, but also there's a commercial element to it as well. We have churches. We have places where people gathered. We have two cemeteries, right? So it's really talking about preserving the story of a whole entire neighborhood. That's and right. I think that's really important. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, it's important to remember when we're thinking about preserving buildings, they're not, it's not just about saving an old structure. The buildings are where the community kind of pins our memories to, and it's how we create meaning within our social group. So we have a lot of memories attached to these places, and they allow us to continue to tell those stories and for newcomers to be able to identify with those stories.
Right. And we're sharing our unique piece of who we are, because our story is not St. Petersburg's story or Venice's story. It's ours. And from my perspective, this historic designation for a district is a tool to preserve our history. And it's relatively new, I think, to the city of Sarasota. I know we have a historic downtown, and I just learned that Central Coconut is officially designated a historic district, yes. Which I did not know.
It is a national historic district.
Okay. So what is the difference? Can one of you explain to me what is the difference between national designation and local designation?
Well, we have it's not really like a clean line. I mean, some of it is as easy as just the terminology of it. Mm-hmm. You have an less, let's say, cumbersome path to designate something locally. The protections awarded by a national designation are more stringent.
Okay.
Again,
more flexible.
More flexible, but for protecting what you have. But it really gives you that kind of flexibility to maintain that property. The local designations is a faster tool.
It is a faster process, but it does have greater restrictions
as
review for demolition. So a national designation, while it's an incredible honor, that in and of itself will not prevent buildings from being demolished, because it doesn't trigger that kind of review in the city's local code. So local designation, which maybe could be a next step for some of the areas of the national
Yes.
district, would provide the additional review to make sure that changes to the building would not be destructive to the preservation values that have been identified. And
That's right. And one of the key things is that we should probably mention when we're talking about improvements to some of these structures is that for somebody interested in a structure like this, is that you need to maintain that quality and the character of the structure, but there are allowances to improve, so you can bring up to today's standard of living one of these older structures. There's certainly ways to do this. Interiors are certainly open for modern living. You know, you can have that interpretation as you can. So you can work on interiors. You can maintain the character of that home or that volume of whatever the structure is.
So
Even
if
with-
someone in Newtown, once we actually become registered, and let's say they want to put a bright red, change their door to a bright red door, do they have to contact
No.
somebody? Or if they want to make changes to their structure, their home, do they have to notify anybody that they're going to add a wall in or add an addition to their house?
So for the
ahead.
local, for a national district, they would have no additional review other than would be required by a traditional building permit. So if it's the kind of thing where they would be going to the city for a building permit, then they would still follow that same process. If they were locally designated in the future, then certain projects that would affect the exterior of the structure would get flagged for additional review. So when they pull that building permit, it would be like, oh, this is locally designated, so it would get shifted over, so the people reviewing it are people who know about historic buildings, and making sure that that's in keeping with the historic home. But in general, paint is never, we don't live in that kind of a community. So, this is not Georgetown or Connecticut. Paint is never dictated by the restrictions.
Well, that's good to know, because I think that may be one of the concerns that resident will take a look at. Well, if I do this, if I don't do that, does that mean that I have to report to somebody, or when I make changes to my house, or they're going to be watching my house to see if I've done anything to my house? So that is good to know.
Can you just talk about some of the benefits? If somebody says to me,
Absolutely.
I want to preserve my home, what are the benefits? Why should I do this? Why should I go through this process? What's in it for me?
So one of the biggest benefits to, national designation is an honorary benefit. And so it kind of establishes among the community and really the country at large that this is a significant place because of these people, because of this story. Local designation carries with it additional benefits, some of which are captured in the national, but it gets a little tricky. So for the most part, the benefits come with local designation, and there's flexibility in the building and zoning codes. You don't have to bring your building up to code, for example. Like if you wanted to replace a window, normally building code would make you, put in a hurricane, wind resistant, expensive window.
Correct. Sometimes bringing up these buildings up to modern, or current. Let's not use the word modern. Let's use the word current. Building standards is quite expensive.
Right.
And there are alternate ways of protecting a building that has been locally designated. There's alternate ways of protecting these structures. So there is some flexibility for somebody who wants to invest in a property like this. And this is more your area of expertise, but I know that if you want to, because we were talking a little bit about how the property value actually, once it is associated with a historic designation, they actually tend to rise. So
yes,
if you
they
have more
increase
details.
in value. So designation also brings with it, the potential for a tax exemption attached to a major renovation, which is through the city and county. It's a process, so it's not for something small. It would be a major project, but it does reduce your ad valorem taxes, which can be significant. And
can you just give me an example of that? Exactly
Sure.
What do you mean? Just do you have an example?
So when you pay your property taxes, a portion of that is ad valorem, and so it's based on the value of your property. If you own a home that you're going to say put $50,000 into, because you're going to, yes, a historic home, you're going to rebuild the porch, and you're going to put a new roof on it, and you're going to, restore this entire facade, then that would be a project that you would want to, before you began, reach out to the city or the county and talk to them about, hey, I'd be interested in this, because then they will help you fill out that paperwork. Then you would continue down your process, and in the end, your tax bill that you receive every year would be significantly reduced. So essentially, it's making it more financially feasible for you to invest money in this historic home, because we see the preservation of these properties as a value for the whole community. So it's a way of trying to offset the homeowner's investment in those properties.
Wonderful. And I just want to back up just 1 second and go to Mary. So Mary, do you have an example of a historic home in the Newtown National District that you could share with us? Just a story that attaches to exactly what Erin was just talking about.
Yes, I definitely do. And one of the homes that has been identified as part of the 691 is the Wright Bush House. And it was actually built in 1920. I've had a chance to go visit this place, and it is just amazing. And so I'll just let you know, the house was known as a local gathering place as segregation kept African American soldiers stationed at the U.S. Army base in Sarasota. So it used to be a place where the army guys would go and just relax. Because of segregation, they couldn't go to the local bars or restaurants, but then they would come to this house. And so as we had talked to the owner, she had let us know that, her family remember when the soldiers would come to town, and then they would actually come and visit. So it's located right at the corner of Martin Luther King and Maple Avenue. The building consists of wood frame with roofing, and then has windows. But it is just a nice wood house, and it has wooden floors. And so it is good to know that the structure, one, is still here, and that it really is a historic structure right here in Newtown. And that's the Wright Bush House.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that story. So if they were to wanted to fix up the house and put on a new roof or redo the front porch, maybe the foundation or something like that, they should go to the county and the city first. And then the value, the added value that they put in that house, that gets taken off of their tax rolls.
Yes, essentially it would freeze their taxes where they are, and the property tax amount would not increase as a result of the added value, which normally when you pull building permits, the tax office knows, and they're like, ooh, they're doing something over there. We're going to charge you a little bit more now because you fixed up your house. So it freezes that process to help offset the financial investment.
And just so that everybody knows, when you designate your home as historic, does that mean you can not touch it without getting permission? I think that's the concept. If people believe that if they designate their house locally, oh no, I can't do this or do that, or what are the parameters? What are we talking about here?
Really, what is concerning as far as a locally designated property, the city is only ever going to be concerned with what you do on the front facade. So it's about what the community sees. They don't govern interiors. They don't, so changes there aren't even looked at. It's just about what you're doing to the portion of the building that tells the story for the rest of us. So
That's true.
So you could have a big living room and then make it into 2 smaller rooms.
Absolutely.
And you can do additions. You can do
That's right.
Changes. I mean, there's really nothing set in stone. It's just about enlisting the help of professionals who understand historic buildings and can help you make decisions that will be appropriate for that property. So it's never a no, it's just a let's think about doing it this way. How can we meet your goals?
That's right. It's really, think of it of almost adding like another layer of protection to what you have. It's not saying no. It absolutely is never saying no. It's, well, let's take a look at it and let's review. And for the most part, like you said, nobody, it's your home. You can use the interiors as you like. Additions, a lot of these homes are smaller, just because that's how it was. It was a smaller homes, and they have possibly some area within that lot to expand. That is very possible as well, as long as there is a chance to review how much these additions impact the portion that the community experiences. And again, for the most part, you are doing things in the back. I know through the board we have seen some cases where additional stories were added to the rear of their property, and they added substantial square footage still within the scale of the neighborhood, and that was a perfect way of expanding and having more square footage for their home and still maintain that character. So there's a lot of flexibility.
Like some of the homes in Newtown, like you said, they are smaller, they are older. Some of these go back, like I said, to the 1920s. So plumbing was different back then.
Yes.
So if one of these homes has a problem already with plumbing and want to correct that, how would they go about it, seeing that they're being designated as a historic structure?
Great question.
Yeah, and utilities, and basically think of it as the internal organs of your home are not part of the designation, so you are free to update and secure and make sure that all the internal organs of the home are working properly.
Yeah, that is good to know.
And that it's really, think of it like that, almost like you're doing surgery, you're upgrading, and it's functioning well. Yes, there's a lot of, these are older homes, older sites.
That's right.
Utilities take time to be upgraded throughout,
Yes.
so that is a continuous process. So that should not be a setback for anybody.
Speaking of maintenance, I just wanted to mention that being a designated, while designation is not required, the Sarasota Alliance is offering a new loan program through Central Coconut and Newtown. And so properties that are considered contributing to either district would be eligible to apply for a loan program to help offset the cost of, these are low-cost, flexible loans to help people be able to afford the big-ticket repairs like a roof or tenting or other things that they need to do to secure the property and keep it around for hopefully the next 100 years.
And does that include any of the like plumbing, the insides of the house?
So systems generally, the good thing is that these loans are going to be approved on a case-by-case basis. So generally systems wouldn't be included. However, if you've got a plumbing leak and it is damaging the structure and causing potential structural insecurity underneath, then absolutely. Sometimes these things are just as important, and that's mostly the program is for these things that aren't quite as glamorous as a new porch or things like that. They're kind of the meat and potatoes of keeping the home healthy, but absolutely.
That will fall up under the
structural remediation. Absolutely.
Yeah, and one of the things that it is very exciting to see a program like this, because if a structure is well protected, and once people are able to see the things that qualify for these loans, is really about protecting the integrity of that structure. Once you have something well built and that it's protected, you have your structures protected, foundations are protected, you don't have water intrusion, and this is what this type of intervention is trying to take care of, those places will be around for a long, long time. Then that somebody's initial investment just goes so much farther if it's well maintained.
So a wood frame structure could be around, well, this one is Right Bush House is over 100 years old. They can be around for a very, very long time.
Around more than any
long
of us.
After us.
Long after us, they'll still be, if well maintained, absolutely.
Yes. So between the National Historic Designation process, the local designation process, and I see this as a third tool, is the historic loan program. Mm-hmm. These things work together to help to preserve these structures and our districts and our stories.
Yes.
Erin, what are some of the qualifying requests?
So some of the key points of the loan program are that one of the biggest benefits is that it basically partners the homeowner with a project coordinator who will work with them from the beginning to the very end of the project.
Wonderful.
And that person works with them to prioritize what they need to do. You know, a little bit of triage is always necessary. Let's do this, then this, and what they can afford, and then helps them to solicit bids from qualified contractors, choose the contractor that they feel most confident about, and then oversees the work as it goes on to make sure that it's done right, that it's on budget, done on time, and that it's done in keeping with the Secretary of the Interior standards, which would mean that the building would then qualify for additional designations if it's not already locally designated. So it protects the investment of the homeowner and takes a lot of the stress off. That is our goal, because the Alliance has access to a tremendous bank of people with expertise and professionals, and not every homeowner has that. So we just want to be able to be a partner in helping to preserve the community.
Wonderful.
This is an awesome program, at least an awesome idea for this program. And one of the things that I have gotten, you know, information from residents as president of Amaryllis Park Neighborhood Association, they're always getting this advertisement in their mail, you know, telling them if they can get something done to their house, they may be eligible for free windows. And I got a call a few weeks ago, and sure enough, it was promising them all of this stuff. And she said, well, Mayor, I called, and they couldn't give me any more information. They wanted my information. So, especially for older residents, you know, when you know that you've been in your house for a long time, you know that the house is just old, okay? And then you get something in the mail that says free on it, and you can see where they're showing this house before and then this house after, and then you call. So I think this is excellent, because what this is going to do, this is going to protect our residents from that.
That's the goal.
You know, it's so many scams out there, you know, especially when hurricane season, you know, things happen like that, and you just want some repairs done, and next thing you know, first they come out and saying, oh, it's going to be a few $100s, and then they add on and add on and add on. So I think it's awesome that we can protect our residents
So
and our homes.
who do they call? Who can somebody call when they, you know, either get solicited by somebody or want to be a part of your program, or just to find out what it's going to cost? Like, who can somebody call? Can they call you?
They can call me, yeah. I'm the program director for the Sarasota Alliance, so it's my job to field those calls and hook people up. We are working not only to, you know, pair them with our program if we can, but also to piggyback on the other existing programs that exist through the state, through the city, so that we can really maximize the benefit. But absolutely, I welcome calls.
Do you have
questions.
a website?
Yes, it's preservesrq.org.
Okay, and do you want to share your phone number?
Sure, yeah. So let me make sure I give out the business number. It's 941-529-1833. So
Wonderful.
give a call, and
Well, we are done with our time here. It flew by. I think there were a lot of other things we could have talked about. I really wanted to talk some more about historic preservation with you all.
Agreed.
But thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Mary, you think in a year we're going to have this National Historic District?
Yep.
We'll be celebrating that in a year?
Ready for the celebration in about a year.
Wonderful. And Erin, you think that maybe in a year you'll be able to come back and tell us some success stories?
oh, we plan to, yes.
Wonderful. And then when we come back in a year, Roberto, you can share your ideas about the scale of neighborhoods and
Agreed.
historic
Agreed.
preservation.
We can definitely have many more chats about this.
Yes. Well, thank you all again. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us on Commissioner's Corner. We'll see you next time in a year.